Hello, I'm Penny Thornton, and welcome to my astrological view of the week. Here I am, your cosmic planner, helping you to cut through some of the mysteries that you see out there in the world and also have a little bit of a better idea about why you're in the position you're in and how best to deal with it. So, we're going to be talking about Neptune, and we're going to be talking about Neptune really for the next 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, I'll introduce other topics as well, but this kind of sets the stage for the next 2 or 3 weeks. And I want to begin by looking at what Neptune means in astrology. Neptune, as the god Neptune, Poseidon, ruled the sea. And when we think about the oceans of the world, how wonderful they are, and when we are on the ocean on a beautiful sunny day and it's calm, there's no better place to be. It's kind of magical. But then think of it when there's a storm about, then that's a really difficult place to be. You're going from side to side. You might be losing track of where you are, and it can be very frightening. So those are two very clear sides of Neptune. And the same really with the underwater sea world, where it can be beautiful coral with gorgeous colored fish in it. And of course, the next thing you see is a shark or a barracuda. It's a dangerous place. And that's what we look at with Neptune. And when we have Neptune in a premium position for 2 or 3 weeks, there are things we need to be aware of. The first thing we need to be aware of in a general sense is political spin. There's going to be a lot of it. It'd be difficult to get the facts straight or to get any clear direction through. And I want to look, before I get into the more personal things about, your sun sign and everything, I want to look in general at two situations at the moment. We're looking at Hong Kong, where the protests are going on. And we can see that this situation is very confusing, both for the protesters and also no one knows what the government is really thinking. No one knows what's happening outside on the borders of China. So it's all a bit smoke and mirrors. And this situation is going to get worse before it gets better. But what we want to watch out for now are very mysterious developments, things that you have no idea why they're happening, who implemented them, why did that person disappear, why did that person reappear, what are the reasons. So Neptune is full of mystery. And of course, we can also look at what's going on in Blighty, because the Brexit saga goes on and on, although it is reaching its denouement. And this coming week and the next couple of weeks are going to be really crucial. Some important things coming up for Boris. And I was just noticing that Boris, of course, is among the planetary group that has this planet very fairly and squarely in their charts at the moment. And what that makes me think, because Neptune is such a confusing kind of planet, that either he isn't really sure about what his vision is or quite how it's all going to work out, or he's relying on people who really don't know either, or they're giving him false information, not necessarily because they're evil minded, but just because they've got it wrong. So, in a general way, when we look at what we're all in for in a Neptunian week like this, and it will affect us all to a greater or lesser extent, and there are some very practical steps we can take. The first thing we can do is be very clear in our instructions and directions, intentions, whether we're talking to people, writing things down, whatever we may be doing, even writing an address on a letter you're going to post. Make sure you got the right postcode, because things slip and slide with Neptune, mistakes are easily made. At least we have control over our own actions. And Neptune is somewhere in your chart right now. You're not immune to it because you're not a Pisces or a Virgo or a Gemini or a Sagittarius, who are really in the sights of Neptune. We've all got it somewhere. And so the other thing to remember is communications that you're receiving. Is someone telling you the whole truth and nothing but the truth? It's better to err on the side of caution. They may not be in any way trying to pull the wool over your eyes. It's just that they've got their facts wrong. So you just need to keep this in mind as you go about the week. Now, in terms of Neptune and what this planet represents, the industries that it's has rulership over, as we say in astrology, well, we're looking at the film industry. We're looking at the health and social services. We're looking at religion to a certain extent, and education even. So these are going to be newsworthy stories during the week ahead. And of course, we also have those two themes that we'll be playing, which are deception and betrayal. And of course, we think straight away of the things that are going on in the Jeffrey Epstein saga, another saga that's going to run and run. And there's a lot of half truths and smoke and mirrors which are being spread about that. So keep your eyes open for that. But now let's look a little more specifically at, at the signs who lead the Neptunian front, as it were. If you have a birthday around the 10th of the month, and that means a birthday around the 7th to the 13th, one of those days, then Neptune is definitely making inroads into your chart. It's affecting your sun. In a good way, it's heightening consciousness. It's giving you some very romantic feelings. And I want to say, if you're going to get married this week, it would be a very romantic time. Romance is high on the list of ticked boxes this week. But the underbelly of Neptune is difficult. It's not a safe place to be. And so we run the risk of misinterpretation, misunderstandings, and even at worst, deception and betrayal. So what do you do about this? You act with care. You double check things. You don't just read the first thing and say and dash an email off. You don't accept the first story that someone gives you. You do a bit of a backstory. You do some research. And as I said, there may be nothing other than pure innocence involved. But sometimes we do things out of ignorance and innocence, and they turn out to be dangerous. So that is going to be very important for the week ahead. We also want to be on the lookout, as I've said, for political spin. We're all going to be caught up in that. And whatever the twists and turns of the week ahead, remember, it ain't over till the fat lady sings. And I know that's a terrible cliche, and I can be the queen of cliches sometimes, but it's very well worth remembering. And just as a general tip from all of us, to remember that the story hasn't fully played out. I'm going to end on something that I find very positive about Neptune, because often when there is a strong Neptune influence and we're under it in our lives and we've lost our direction, our sense of self, we feel we have no control over what's happening. That's very typically Neptunian. One of the strengths here is to think about if everything has suddenly been thrown upside down, the pieces are all up in the air and we can't see how they're going to fall. Well, they're going to fall into a new pattern, and that new pattern will be the way forward from there on. So there is always a positive outcome to even the most complicated things. That's a good thought for me to leave you on until I see you again here this time next week. Bye for now.